Hello, teachers, and welcome. My name is Erin Lebax, and this is the first in a new series of videos on teaching English using active learning. This particular video will focus on a strategy called discovery learning, one of my favorites, and here's what we'll look at during this video. Discovery learning is often referred to also as inductive reasoning or inductive learning. We're learning through figuring things out instead of learning through being told. So what we'll do in this video is I'll start with two examples where you're in the student's position and you can see the content and examples they would get and how they would need to discover what pattern was happening. And we'll look at a couple of English grammar examples specifically. Then we'll step back and I'll talk a little more about the theory behind this kind of teaching, how it works, what are some of the benefits for you and for your students. And then finally, I'll share a couple more applications, other areas you could use this strategy with. You may also have ideas. You may have used this with other topics yourself. Please let us know in the comments how you've used discovery learning in your classroom. Okay, let's jump right into example one. I'm not talking much about discovery learning before we get to the examples because I want you, like our students, to discover it. So here's the first example. I would put these examples on the board, correct sentences, incorrect sentences, and I would say to students, what's your theory? Why are some of the sentences correct and some incorrect? What's the pattern? What's the rule behind all of these examples? I like asking them that specific question, what's your theory? Because it suggests to them they are good at analysis. They can use their intellect to come up with a theory of their own, and we know they'll remember it more when they do. So here are the sentences. Correct. Last year we rented a new apartment. Yesterday we watched an eagle fly over the river. Before class, the students reviewed vocabulary. Incorrect, though, you may start to notice a pattern, as would your students. Last year, we rent a new apartment. Yesterday, we watch an eagle fly over the river. Before class, the students review vocabulary. So what do you notice? In the correct examples, all of our verbs are in the simple past. They're regular verbs where they have their ed on them. We don't have that in the incorrect sentences, even though we do have that expression of time in each sentence. Last year, yesterday, before class, we know for sure these things have already happened. But in the incorrect, we have not added the ed. So with these on the board, your students will start to notice, oh, all of these kinds of verbs need an ed to be expressed in the past. And so instead of us telling them that, and then showing examples, we show the examples and they come to realize that rule or method or model themselves. Okay, next example. Correct sentences. My sister got a job at the new restaurant. The tacos at this restaurant are amazing. I wanted to go out for dinner, but my brother wanted to cook. Slightly different topic than the last one, which was more about verbs. Let's look at the incorrect and see what you notice. And what's your theory about why they're incorrect? My sister, she got a job at the new restaurant. The tacos at this restaurant, they are amazing. I wanted to go out for dinner, but my brother, he wanted to cook. You probably noticed in the incorrect examples, they each have a double subject. We've referred to the subject 2 times, which is a very common and often very logical mistake for people to make when they're coming from a different language. Often when students are coming from a Spanish-speaking background, for example, verbs carry a subject within them. And so when it comes time to translate, students often end up saying their subject and then their subject again with their verb. And here's a video walking through that specific grammatical concept if you're looking for something on that. But with these sentences on the board, we would again notice our students analyzing and discovering, oh, we don't need to say our subject more than once. So let's talk a little bit more about what this learning model is, how it works, and why it's beneficial. I love using this in my classroom. I love watching my students be empowered to make these discoveries themselves. With lecture style, also called deductive learning, we tell students the rule, the model, the theory, and then we show them the examples. So the teacher is at the center, explaining the theory and then sharing the examples. But with discovery learning or inductive learning, we give our students the example and they analyze those to discover the theory for themselves. Learning a lesson from the inside out, from your own experience, makes it so much more memorable than just being told. And so here are some other benefits on this kind of teaching strategy and this type of learning. Students are empowered to make discoveries for themselves, to analyze, to believe in their own ability to analyze and figure things out. Students often have much higher retention of concepts because when someone tells us something, we might remember it or we might not, but when we go through it ourselves, we are more likely to remember it. Students also may feel more ownership over the concept, having discovered it, figured it out for themselves, leading also to a deeper understanding of the concept because they've had the experience of going through that discovery. So I'll share a couple more applications where you might use discovery learning. You can use discovery learning to teach almost anything, and it's fantastic for teaching language. We talked a little bit already about an example with verb tenses, an example with subjects. Here are a lot of other applications you could try this for. You would design the sentences and examples ahead, put them on the board or on a handout, and have the students discover the concepts and theory behind these topics. So I bet you've used this in your class a little, or you might try it after this video. If so, let us know. What topic did you use discovery learning with? Do you have any tips? How did it go in your classroom? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you very soon with our next video in this new series on teaching English with active learning.